Where are you from originally?
Bellingham, Washington.
Are you kidding
I'm a
me?
local. I went to UW.
I grew up in Bellingham and Ferndale. You remember Ferndale?
We used to
Ferndale
play
High
you guys
School.
in basketball
And we used to
football.
like fight each other.
Do we?
Like,
you guys were
I had no idea
the
you were from
rural school.
Bellingham.
I'm from Bellingham.
Yeah, we were like the Hicks, like the Tar Heels, right?
I'm a Northwest kid. I'm a native son. Lived in Seattle for about 8 years, and then moved to New York to go to grad school, basically. Yeah.
Skeleton Twins.
Yeah.
When does it comes out theatrically, right?
Yes, it does. September 19th. It's released by Roadside Attractions and Lionsgate.
Perfect. Well, tell us about this movie. Just a little bit about.
Sure. It is about brother and sister, played by Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig. And they are deeply estranged and haven't spoken in 10 years, live on opposite sides of the country. And sort of in a moment of crisis in both of their lives, they end up moving back in with each other in the small town they grew up in, and just basically attempt to rebuild their broken relationship.
Well, and is any of this similar to any of your history? How do you, you relate to this?
Yeah, I mean, none of it is directly autobiographical, but you know, so many bits are pulled from our lives. Right. You know, I have a sister who I'm very, very close to, and yet we're very different people. And the way that we connect, though, often is through a real offbeat, macabre sense of humor. And that's a big element of the script and the story, which is really about a brother and sister sort of finding each other again and remembering what they loved about each other. Yeah. And a lot of that has to do with their very odd, unique sense of humor, especially sort of, you know, being able to laugh in the face of some dark stuff that's going on with them.
Well, and those dynamics and the rest of it, casting, those two in particular.
Yeah, it just hit me like a thunderbolt that Kristen Wiig, it's just sort of a no-brainer, you know. The public has an association with them as a duo anyway, due to Saturday Night Live, and they've been in a few movies together. But this is so, so different than anything they've done together that I thought that partnership and that association would absolutely make the movie.
Savvy choice.
And you know, yeah, there was a moment of like, oh, is this gimmicky because of the Saturday Night Live thing? But because it's so different, and because there's a familiarity with them, there's actually a little bit, I think in the public's mind, a little bit of acceptance of them as, you know, sort of a duo. Yeah. And I think that really helped, I think it helps you as an audience member believe that these two are brother and sister.
What were they like directing, those two?
Oh my God, it was a blast. They're the funniest people on the planet. And they're so, so smart. I mean, Kristen's brain just works faster than the normal human's brain. And just what comes out of her mouth is always just hyper articulate, and about like 2 or 3 seconds before everyone else has kind of caught up, she said like the smart thing, or kind of what everybody's been thinking. You know, if you look at her Saturday Night Live characters, they're very verbal and they talk very quickly. And,
yeah, it's interesting you say that, because the thing that always strikes me about her performances is she has very intelligent eyes. You can see, you know what I mean?
Completely, yeah. And she communicates so much. I mean, this is a really dramatic role for her. There's funny stuff, but it's really emotional. I mean, she goes full Meryl Streep in this movie in a few moments, in a really good way. And there's so much, you know. I can point to specific shots in the movie where there's like 6 different emotions that pass over her face just in the course of one shot, you know.
And what about him? What was how would you compare him to?
And he is, I don't know if it's going so far to say he's a revelation. This is Bill's first leading role in a movie, and it's also his first really dramatic role. He's also funny in it, but he's also really emotional. And he's really playing a character who's real sensitive and a little understated and sweet, and very different than the Bill Hader that we know and love. But, you know, I'd say that this Bill Hader is every bit as lovable.
Well, and you're loved here because True Adolescence is extraordinarily well received.
Hey, it's your favorite nephew.
We need a place to crash.
So small amount of time.
You know, the first one, True Adolescence, was the first. I think the first is the toughest in many ways. I just had so much more anxiety and like dread. Just, you know, I remember 2 weeks out. That's always the toughest point is, you know, 2 weeks out before you start shooting, it just doesn't seem like anything's going to come together. You don't have half your locations. You're just feeling way behind. And I remember just having this knot in my stomach. And then once we started shooting, and it just was an incredible crew, all, you know, largely a local Seattle crew that I worked with. Sean Porter, who is an incredible DP. He was my gaffer. Lynn Shelton was my on-set photographer, my set still photographer. Ben Kasulki was. It was like a greatest hits of Seattle filmmaking, working on that movie, which we actually shot, oh God, now. It was late summer of 2007 that we shot that out here, yeah.
So taking from page to screen, Skeleton Twins.
Yeah, well, 8 years. In the making. Mark went off to work for Darren Aronofsky. I went off and made True Adolescence. And then after I made that movie, I dug it out and kind of reread it. I was like, this isn't half bad. Let's try to get this made. And that just took forever. You know, it's an odd movie. It's funny, but it's emotional, and it's got dark subject matter in it. We'd get the same line from them all the time. We go like, I just love this script. It's so interesting and dark and weird. We're not making it. It's too weird and offbeat for us, and we don't understand what the tone is. But we know it's going to get made, so really good luck. And everybody said that.
Wow,
we love it. We're not making it.
The art of the turn down.
Yeah, the art of the turn down.
It always sounds the same, doesn't it?
I know, I know. So
And
great.
You know what I want to do is I want to raise a glass to you, to your film.
All right.
At the SIFF. But I mean, you're going to be back here with all kinds of wonderful work over the next 40 years.
We'll knock back a couple of glasses of water.
Cheers to you, bro.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You'll be returned home safely, but forever changed.